What's up, man? How are you?
What's up? What's up, man? Pleasure to be here. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's an interesting week so far. We got some big news today, so that's fun.
Dude, I mean, it's kind of been it's like secretly, sneakily, like a fun last week in crypto. Are you referring to the Uniswap thing, or what are you referring to?
Yeah, the uni thing. I was just watching the stream. Sorry about TBPN, man. They
Dude,
are
these
good. You
fucking
got hey,
guys,
game
game is
respect game.
game,
I like the
man.
approach.
I'll tell you, I always joke, we're just gonna go guest for guest until somebody gets Trump on. Maybe, yeah. Game is game. I'm excited to see the clips after that. What do you think about Uni?
It's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, there was a lot of chatter, in the streets over the last couple of days, and then we saw I think it was like a Chinese news agency break the news like 5 hours ago, and then the forum posts go live. So you could kind of see it in the chart, which candidly is kind of a problem. But from a higher level, like okay, it's good that this is finally happening. I'm like a walking contradiction when it comes to the Uniswap fee share because like
Right.
one, uh, I don't really love the idea of like protocols or companies sharing revenue with the token on like day one. Like let's build the runway kind of guy. But that's because there's no perpetual motion machines when you share like 100% of revenue. That means you're just kind of doing some fancy accounting and generally funding the operation of the business with token sales. So it's kind of in one door out the other. So generally, I actually kind of supported the let's hold the line on the fee switch on the Uniswap side of things. The proposal is actually pretty interesting. So one thing that I like is they're turning off the front end fee on the lab side of things as well, which there was kind of like the equity token relationship, which maybe exists to a lesser extent now. It's pretty hard to undo that, but the legal team at Uniswap seems like they've been candidly working towards that. So that was like a good plus one to see. And then there was also some interesting ideas around MEV internalization for Uniswap. Haven't been able to unpack exactly what that mechanism looks like, but if you're turning on the fee switch, you're ultimately lowering the amount of fees that go to LPs, right? If I'm a trader, I pay $1 to swap. Right now, that full $1 goes to the LPs in the pool. But if you turn on that fee switch, it'd be like a 95-5 split or a 90-10 split, right? So if we lower the LP profitability, doing some like MEV internalization could be interesting to basically counteract that. So that was pretty cool. I liked that. The one thing that like immediately just turns me off is the token burning thing. Like, all right, burning unissued tokens from the treasury doesn't mean anything. It's just like you get to say you did it. So like yeah, I think it's like 10% of the supply, but those tokens are unissued and uncirculating,
So
so it
I
looks
got
really good on
excited about
paper.
this. I'm like, oh my god, 10% supply. Then I'm like, wait. Someone in the chat's like, dude, it's already off market tokens that are chilling in the treasury. It means absolutely nothing. Can you, like, in layman's terms, explain why the proposition of a fee switch is bullish for token price action? Like, what for people that are not familiar with Uniswap, for as much as you know, like, what does that literally mean?
Yeah, so the DAO will now be collecting fee revenue, right? So again, using like a very simple example, let's say I trade on Uniswap, and right now, if I paid $1 of a swap fee, that all goes to the LPs in that pool. So if it was like a USDC ETH pool, then whatever LPs are providing the liquidity that I can trade against, they get all the
A
fees.
hundred
But the fee
percent.
switch, yeah, 100%. So the fee switch
Whoa.
basically sort of bifurcates that or like breaks it into two, where now you'll have like 5% goes to the DAO, 95% goes to those LPs. So then the DAO starts collecting these fees as revenue. And then why that's bullish is sort of the next step is either we're going to buy back and burn the Uni token using that fee revenue, or you can like distribute it to Uni stakers or something interesting like that.
So this whole time the DAO's made nothing.
Nothing, not a
Dude,
dollar.
what the fuck is that?
And then they had that front end fee. So if you go to like I don't know what their URL is, but if you go to the official Uniswap front end and execute a trade, you will pay an additional fee that the labs entity was taking. So that
Okay.
again, like there's token equity and there's a token and there's a labs entity equity, and there's just like a push and pull between those two things. But like that's why I think the forum post was called the unification
Uh-huh.
with the uni in all caps, because they're trying to make it like one single entity.
How big of a deal do you think this is? Like, is Uni now an interesting trade for you? I bought. I'm in a bag when I'm watching it, but I'm just like trading momentum in the chart. Is this like does this become an interesting? I mean, the chart looks like pretty cursed. Does this become an interesting trade long term here? Something you're looking at, especially on the data side, if this goes, assuming this goes through.
Yeah, the chart does look cursed, man.
It's
It's like
brutal.
sort of like that meme where it's, straight red line down and then like the guy's cheering because it goes up one small little green
Yeah.
bar. But from like a high level, I think it's really good for the industry to have a major project like Uniswap, who's instrumental in the last 4 years of success we've seen in DeFi, willing to get out of this trend to be like, okay, regardless of regulation and how that's changed and how that's progressed, we want to actually turn this on, because that was something they've kind of hung their hat on as to why they aren't doing that. So I think it's good from a high level. Is it an interesting trade? I mean, Dexes is a hard game, man. It really, really is. Super low margin business in the long run, most likely, like many things. But I think like the interesting catalyst here is either if they can get Unichain spun up to an exciting place, or Uniswap v4 hooks is sort of like this interesting platform style play where you can build really complex dexes on top of the Uniswap v4 system. That could be two interesting things here, but from a high level, like I'm not in the trade. It doesn't get me super, super excited, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this one.
Cool. By the way, I didn't even give you a chance to do an intro. Do you want to give a quick intro into who you are, what you do, and then we can get into some more fun stuff?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We went straight into the,
I know, I know.
man,
I was like
talking it
excited. I'm like
down.
staring at a fucking leverage trade. I'm like all fucking amped up.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, man. I'm the head of data at Blockworks. Been building out the research and data product for the last 4 years, and now spend 100% of my time thinking about how we can bring on-chain data to life. I think the industry does a great job of wanting to tell stories based on what's happening on chain, and we have this really unique value proposition, right? Blockchains are giant open APIs just spitting off data nonstop, and so they allow you to basically take that data, understand what's happening, then communicate that outwards, and that's what gets me jazzed up, man. I love putting together a data set for the first time that no one's seen before, and that's kind of what I've been doing recently with Ore. It's just like, it's an interesting thing what's going on there. Am I like obsessed with it? I don't know. It's probably on the no. I kind of agreed with your framing. Like, is it the future of France? Probably not. But yeah, TLDR, love just tearing into on-chain data.
So, by the way, I love that. Wake up and think about data. It's awesome. I think that's
Go to
awesome.
sleep, think about data,
That's
dream about data.
It's
Oh
awesome.
yeah,
And, but you do great work. I'm a fan of your
thank you,
posting.
sir.
I love the PFP as well. Okay, let's just start with Ore. I mean, I actually have a bunch of stuff for you, but let's start with Ore. I'm gonna be completely honest. I still don't really get it. Like I guess I do. I get it. I don't get why it's like going to $1 billion. Obviously Frank is a good friend of mine, and he had a pretty public trade on this and was I think is very excited about it. We kind of missed it on the stream though. Like I was kind of covering it. I'm like, feels lame, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, going crazy. The data guys love it. The revenue guys love it. Everyone's all the store value guys love it. The POW guys love it. Like it's like a fun crew overlap that loves it. Can you break down what it is, and then we can get into some more specific details?
Yeah, 100%. But I think you actually just hit the nail on the head there. Like it got a lot of like weird pockets of crypto jazzed up, and I think that's actually a testament to its success. It's actually got quite the lore too. So it's actually 18 months old, or maybe just shy of. So if you remember back in early spring or late spring, early summer of 2024, and it sucked transacting on Solana, or was at fault. So their first iteration was very much this heavy proof of work, like solve math problems and get tokens in return for solving those math problems. And like each of those math problems was a transaction on Solana. So this was like happening right when meme coining was getting hot or was already hot. And then all of these transactions were hitting at the exact same time based on how the system was designed. So it's actually very instrumental in the whole IBRL narrative of Solana of like, hey, we get punched in the face. That means we find the problems. Now we fix the problems and continue growing. So it does have some really good lore as well. And it kind of went through a couple different iterations of exactly what that proof of work mining game looked like. And then kind of like went into a quiet lull period where I think the team was just kind of iterating on what the design should look like. And then about 2 months ago, they relaunched what that mining game looks like. And so now you kind of got to like break it apart to have a full discussion on like what Ore is. There's like two components. One is the asset, and then one is the actual mining game or system. Maybe we'll cover the asset thing later because that's sort of like the store of value side of things. And I think the game is just far more interesting. So instead of solving math problems basically in the proof of work hashing algorithm game, they got rid of that and replaced it with a lottery, or like honestly I view it as a roulette game. So there's 25 squares, and each square has an equal odds of winning. And the winning square, gets decided at the end of a 1 minute round. So basically, clock starts, 1 minute countdown, and you can bet on any number of squares you want for any amount of value. At the end of that 1 minute, one square is chosen, and then all of the winners on that square share the total value that was bet within that round.
So you have like 25 to 1 odds to bet on any.
Exactly. And then if you bet, half the squares, then you have, or I guess you can't bet half of 25, but but you bet 5 squares, then you get better odds, right?
Okay.
And so that is like the simple premise, and then there's like one extra piece layered onto that, which is the let's call it like the game subsidy, if you will. So every round, 1.2 OR is issued to the winning square, so that sets like a minimum value for the winner. And then there's also a jackpot. And so the jackpot has a 1 in 625 chance of winning, so much, much lower odds. And if it does not win, then it increments, I think it's 0.2 OR every minute or every round, right? And so, like, I don't know, right now the jackpot is like an $80,000 jackpot.
Oh, so the jackpot gets stupid.
Yeah, and like when you look at the value, the total value bet each round, as the jackpot grows, so does that number, right? So everyone sees this huge number, and it's like, oh, all right, now's the time to start betting. So it is very cyclical to the size of the jackpot.
Whoa.
And then so that's like this very simple outlay of what the game has become. And then the revenue portion of that is you bet, like, to bet on the board, you pay in SOL and SOL tokens, and then 10% of all SOL bet on each round is taken as revenue, right? And that 10%, 90% is used to buy back and burn the token, and 10% is just distributed to OR stakers. So you kind of have like this 2-for-1. So, if let's say $1,000 or $100 was bet on a single round, then 10% of that is taken as revenue, so $10, and $9 is used to buy back and burn OR, and $1 is distributed to OR stakers.
So they're just hammering buybacks.
Yeah, it's like just constantly. If you look at the buyback wall, it's just constantly T-wopping.
And so at what point did you get in this trade, and like what got you really excited about it?
I knew about it like as it was launching, and so I was like immediately obsessed with it because like, this is like a fun, stupid, cool thing. Like, all right, I'm in. And so was in it like 18 months ago, and got absolutely fried. It was like, all right, I hate this token. Like, it's the worst token ever. And then once it started like coming back to life, I was like, I'm ready to get hurt again. Like, let's get back in this. And honestly, like I just didn't really pay attention to it that much. And then I played once. And usually crypto has a serious problem where using the product makes you bearish. Yeah. And so this was a rare moment where I was like, holy shit, like this is actually a really quick dopamine hit. And I kind of had fun, and like I'm a little bit of a nerd, so like I'm like, all right, what's the optimal strategy? How can we like actually try to game the system? And it was fun. Like it's actually fun. If I'm like got 2 minutes to kill, pull out Phantom, open or.supply, and have a round.
How quickly do the rounds end?
1 minute. We can play one on stream if you want.
It ends every 1 minute.
Yeah.
What is
so it's quick, quick and dirty.
What is the optimal strategy?
So what you really want to do is bet. You want to be the last person to bet, and so you can
see where all the money is
right.
Pooled,
and so it's not like
okay.
You want to bet on the square with the least amount of money because the whole pot gets shared by that one square if it wins, and like they all have the equal odds of winning. And then you really want to bet more aggressively when the jackpot gets to like a crazy number, right? Because right now, if you win one square, the average winning is somewhere between like 1.5 SOL or 2 SOL. If you bet like 0.1 SOL, so it's like a pretty significant payout. But then if you win that motherload square, it's like, if you bet like 0.1 SOL, you're taking home thousands of dollars. If you hit that jackpot square, so it's like it is a very basic casino style game. And so the store of value guys love to be like, that's just the mining engine. Like the asset has all of the store of value properties. But to me, like, I think I really focus on the system of things. And the revenue chart is up and to the right. They did $1 million day for the first time yesterday. I mean, it looks like the revenue chart's screaming, but the key problem is it's extremely reflexive. So as the price of ore goes up, the jackpot gets bigger, the 1.2 ore subsidy gets bigger, and there's more betting. But if the price of ore falls, like today, I think it's down from like 600 to 300, then the game's worth half as much. So it's kind of hard to like reignite that flywheel. So it's extremely reflexive.
Wait, are you down to share screen and bet on one?
Yeah, I set up a wallet so we can do it.
Wait, can you do it right now? I'll share screen.
Yeah. I gotta share your screen.
I won't show it until you like tell me you feel good.
Okay, cool.
You tell me what and I'll show it.
Yeah. All right, let's let it rip. Can you see?
Cool. Can I show it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Bye.
Can you see the OR screen?
Yeah.
Like,
So yeah, I see your whole screen. So I see the game board. There's the chat.
Perfect. So yeah. All right. So here's our 25 squares. So like we got 30 seconds. So I don't know. Let's just pick 5.
Is that soul or amount of OR bet? That's OR in the squares. What are those numbers? 1.5, 1.6.
Yeah, here, let me just quickly get some skin in the game, and then we can walk through what we're looking at. Oh, shit. Clutch. Okay.
Frank said no, it's soul.
Okay. All right, we're locked in. So these are our 5 squares, these blue ones, and then the 1.6 at the bottom is the total amount bet on that square. So, like, ideally, you want the lowest or the cheapest squares. Yeah, these are all soul.
Oh, people are in the chat saying "Shut up, threadguy." That's lit. No way. That's awesome. What's up, guys?
So yeah, this round has 8 grand on it. All right, come on. So you see they like slowly evaporate off the screen, and then there's like one winning square.
And then so the 1.9 soul gets split between 940 people.
Exactly. Yeah. So if we win one, we'll see the payout here. I don't know. Pick 5 numbers.
Just go the bottom row. 25 to 21.
Okay. I like it.
Someone in the chat, threadguy, told Frank to stop fucking us.
Yeah, so I think he's maybe a guilty party, if you will, on why the chart looks the way it does. He had an extremely public trade. I think he was using the FOMO.
FOMO, yeah. What total deployed to the top right? Is that like amount of soul in this round?
Exactly. Cool. So we're at about $6,000, and then the jackpot's this mother load, as they call it. It's for 82.
Whoa!
Grand.
And there's a 1 in 650 chance.
1 in 625.
Cool.
We need some streamer loot here. Come on.
I know. Give us a dub. I want to see
what if we win What if we win the mother load on stream?
Dude, we're splitting it, right?
Of course. All right, here we go. Give me some bottom row action, baby.
Wow. And this. So, are there people are here just like all day playing this? Optimal. Someone said you gotta do like 10 squares, man, to get a win. Do one more. Do one more. I'll send you some soul after.
No. It's all good. I threw $50 in here. We're using it all.
Frank says Dan left the fuck in. Yeah, hammer like 10 squares. You gotta hit it up. It's like basically 50% chance you win.
Right here. Let's just use the rest I got. So what I got, 14. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
If we lose this, it just simply wasn't meant to be.
Someone said mined or also gives you 148% APR.
Yeah, so you can like stake or here.
Oh, I see.
I mean, right now it's at 22%. It looks like.
Yeah, it's kind of bad.
I don't know. I'm not a staking guy. I'm a play the game guy. But yeah, I mean, like this is as simple as it is. There's no more. There's no more to it than this. Now the store value guys or the or diehards will say like, because there's net deflationary forces because of people playing the game, it's got the store value properties, and like I don't know, that's just like not what gets me excited.
All right, let's win this real quick. This has to be a hit, right?
It's gotta be it.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my god,
fuck, man, what the fuck? All right, GG.
Unbelievable. Oh no, we won. All right. It was 11.
We did.
It was 11.
Okay, bet.
No, we didn't. That was literally. I bet these.
No, GG. Okay, thanks for the demo though. That was sick, actually.
Yeah. So it's literally that simple.
So you said let me stop watching. You said okay, cool. You're back. You said the store of value stuff doesn't get you excited about it. Like, what did get you excited about it from a data perspective? And then what? Like, I don't know. We said at the beginning that it was cool that all of these random parties got really hyped on OR, but like, I feel like we've seen games like this before. Like, I remember there was, well, a lot of people are comparing it to Ohm, but what was the thing on Abstract that was kind of cool for like a week? Big.
Oh, they're like a gotcha thing.
It was
that was
big,
cool.
Bitcoin where they had like the miners. I think it was that went relatively high. Like, yeah, I don't know what got you excited about it, and then why do you think all of these like technical Solana people totally like why are they so jazzed about it?
I mean, I think they're jazzed about it because it's making money, and it's not every day that you see a product have $1 million day. Like that's hard to ignore just from a like, okay, this is like legit aspect.
Yeah.
That was like top two, top three apps in all of crypto on that day, yesterday. So that's automatically, I think, fairly interesting from like a totally retweeting it perspective.
Uh-huh.
And then me personally, though, is like again, I already knew about the existence of it. It was cool to see it not get abandoned
Yeah.
18 months later, and like continued iteration on the product is always admirable. Um, but yeah, I mean, for me, from a data perspective, there's just like a lot to unpack here. The devs use some like unique data structuring, so like it's pretty nerdy. But I was like, all right, no one's really unpacked each round. Like, all right, what squares win the most? How many? What's the average number of squares that somebody bets? What's the average number of squares that somebody bets when they win? Things of that nature. Like you can start really unpacking how people are winning. And then like the most important number in my mind is um, the average amount bet on each round. It's like a leading thing, leading factor to revenue, but it tells you how much people are playing, as well as the number of unique wallets is like somewhat interesting and it can very easily be gamed, but there's really not too much incentive to game it. So that's something I've been paying attention to.
Okay.
And so yeah, from a data perspective, that's kind of just like what got me fired up. Was like, all right, this is a new game to kind of start unpacking and tearing into.
How are the metrics of number amount of soul bet like per round? Are they going
Yeah,
up
so they
significantly?
yesterday until today, yes. There's like 15 to $20,000 rounds when the mother load the jackpot gets up to like 200 300 grand. It's crazy.
Whoa, so
And so that's
it's like J curve on how much people are betting when the jackpot goes up.
100%, which that is like the optimal thing to do, is like when it gets that big, like you should be betting pretty aggressively.
How did
And
Ohm?
so I think
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think like if I had to guess, there's like a lot of bots that are probably playing this game, bots on behalf of people. But like that, again, that is the optimal thing to do. And from the store of value perspective, that's like actually what you'd want. That's burning ore, that's keeping the supply intact. And like, I don't know. Again, the store of value stuff is like, I don't know. It's always been goofy to me. Like, Bitcoin's got a fee problem, always been a fee truther. Ethereum wanted to go like be the store of value route, and that's when I like got extremely less interesting to me. Like that's just like not what gets me fired up. So when I look at ore, like why I like it is not really the store of value piece. It's like, oh, this is like a fun roulette game. Like I'm intrigued.
There's a lot of people giving the Ohm comp. Like, I was even I was not like conscious when Ohm happened. Do you know how that ended? Why that ended? Or you don't have a good take on that?
Honestly, I don't have a great line of sight into like the similarities between the two. I think it's mostly just the reflexivity, right? Like when ore goes up, the games are worth more and there's more betting, so you should bet more and therefore you burn more soul, or you bet more, which burns more ore because of the revenue buybacks. So I think that's really it. Is like I don't remember the exact mechanism of ore, but sorry, of ohm, but it was extremely reflexive in that nature, right? When the price goes up, everything gets better. The flip side of that is when the price goes down, everything gets worse. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how today shakes out. It's like, all right, if it loses 50% of the value, like, are there still a decent amount of people playing the game, which of course generates revenue, and that burns ore and kind of keeps the game alive.
How does the data look so far today?
Pretty good. It's not going to be a new all-time high in revenue, but it's still like somewhere in the $800,000 range. And yesterday's all-time high was $1 million. So not a
Whoa.
huge drop-off, to be honest. It's still like still looks pretty solid.
The revenue numbers are insane on this. This is the one thing where I'm like, what the fuck? I feel like I've just mid covered it the whole way because I was like, it's whatever. The revenue numbers in this thing are insane, dude.
To be fair, I think it's a pretty easy thing to mid-curve. Like we just ran through the entire ins and outs of this thing in like 10 minutes. Like it is a pretty easy thing to mid-curve and write off as silly and stupid. But I don't know. I think meme coins are certainly not dead, but kind of in a I don't know, a sophomore slump, if you will. And so it's like, okay, people are probably looking for interesting ways to kind of just get that dopamine hit. And yeah, I feel like this is kind of like filling a void in that regard.
Do you think it's still an interesting trade here? Like, if you, like, I don't know, is it one of these things that as fast as it goes up, goes down in a free fall and there's no real way for it to recover? Or is this a thing that you think, like, I don't know, if it bounces from where it is here and makes a new ATH on revenue, it gets kind of disgusting, doesn't it? Like, I'm definitely looking, I'm watching the chart all day. Like, how do you think that plays out if you've been sidelined and you're watching it here?
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, I'm extremely long, and
Of
I
course.
I bought more right before Frank decided to hit the sell button. So I mean, that I would have much preferred to buy at this price. But yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I think today, tomorrow, and the following day are probably going to be like the test, if you will. If people still play the game at with a 50% reduction in price, like it's hard not to be excited by that, I think.
So you're a data guy. What is your like philosophical take on these like revenue buyback coins? Like, do you think this is a better place that we're headed with crypto companies, or do you think it's one of these things where it's good at low prices, but then you put a ceiling hard cap on how parabolic price action can go? Like, I'm kind of referring to hype, I'm referring to, or I want to talk to you about pump fund a little bit, like a lot of these coins. Like, what's your like general stance there?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think, are you? Yes, but I think my general philosophy is it's good to raise the floor. Like, look, it's impossible to not look at the ZEC price action and shout out Mert's bull posting that got me early exposure there. But it's impossible to look at that and then just be like, like, you know, you need fundamentals for everything. Like there are zero Zcash fundamentals, there are zero Bitcoin fundamentals. Like, you have to acknowledge the presence of that. But does that mean that, like, if I was going to go be an app founder, you know, would I try to optimize for that? Like, no, absolutely not. I think the odds of having that outcome where, you know, you kind of hit that escape velocity where you just don't need fundamentals is extremely low. And even if you look at the equity markets and the founders who have been the best at sort of curating that cult-like group of stockholders that do not care about fundamentals, it's all driven by future fundamentals, right? Like when Elon gets up and talks about how they're going to sell robots to the world, it's because the end result of that is by making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And so that's always the thing that I think a lot of people in crypto miss, is like they want to tell this like no fundamental story without the because it's going to make a shit ton of money in some date in the future kind of thing, right? Like Palantir has been really good about this, etc. So I don't know. That's the other thing I think people forget about. And so like TLDR, I think it's yes, you got to bring dollars in the door. Now, do you need to like use that all for buybacks? I'm generally like against that. Like I think the hype thing that we saw a couple weeks ago is actually a really interesting example. Like because the assistance fund does not hold USDC and it only buys back and to the tune of like 99% of revenue, there was no buffer to, let's say, you know, be the first one to prevent ADLs or something of this nature. Like if you don't use the revenue for buybacks, you can use it for anything else. And so it's like, who are you prioritizing, the users and traders or the token holders? And the answer is you need to do both simultaneously, but into what capacity is a tough question to answer.
The Zcash one is interesting because I've always been pretty publicly like in that trade as well, and I made a joke in a Telegram chat today, and I'm saying like I was kind of saying fuck meme coins, and I was talking shit about a lot of the ICM stuff and its current form, like, but I don't know, like, believe all this stuff. I was kind of talking shit about ICM, and I made a joke, and I was like, I want philosophical, I want like philosophy coins. Like Zcash is such a goated narrative because it has no revenue cap to like stop how parabolic the price action can go, but then it has this philosophical ideology of privacy that you could like every time there's some headline like UK announces max holdings of 20K for stablecoins, or like the UK announces digital ID required to like buy lettuce.
It's always the UK.
I know. To buy lettuce in the grocery store, or like the UK arrests man for like making a tweet,
Breathing.
and then you're just like Zcash coded, and it has this element of like transcendent philosophy, like ideology inherently involved in what the token is. And it's, when you really look at it objectively, it's actually one of the best narratives you could ever create with a crypto coin. Like, it's hard to sort of beat that one because you could go left curve, right curve, you can go every curve. You're not capped by cash flows, and then you're not capped by like meme coins suck, fuck meme coins. It like sits right there in like the perfect mid curve, which is interesting.
Completely agree with that. And I mean, would you put Bitcoin in that
It's
bucket too?
hella
Like
it's hella Bitcoin coded, bro. It's like
yeah,
Bitcoin's
100%.
so goaded. Bitcoin's so goaded. We're like ETH falls in the mid curve because like we do revenue, ETH sucks. We do like TPS, ETH sucks. We do like popular apps, ETH kind of sucks. Like ETH is like the opposite. It's like kind of bad in every metric that you look at objectively. It's like the complete opposite.
I don't feel like getting yelled at by ETH maxis again, so no comment.
Yeah. It's like the opposite. Yeah, it's brutal.
So okay, I got a question for you on the privacy thing, and
Okay,
like
right.
I feel like I'm gonna get yelled at by Mert in my DMs after this, or C Note or someone. But like, okay, completely agree with the privacy narrative. That's like privacy narrative. That's like a fundamental human right. The examples you gave are salient, and I think matter a lot. And individuals should have privacy over their money, no doubt. But where I get like stuck is like, look, if you make a tool that is good for foreign adversaries to like create nuclear weapons, that's bad. I think like everyone can agree that that is bad. And I'm not saying it's happening with Zcash, but like theoretically it could. Like North Korea or whoever could use that to, move funds into their country and then again do bad things. So that's where I get like stuck because yes, I want privacy over my cash. I want my friends and family to have the privacy over their cash, but I also don't want foreign adversaries and bad people to have the same tooling. And like that's where I get stuck. I'm curious. I don't know if you have any thoughts
Yeah,
on that, but
like
like,
I haven't really thought about it that much. It's one of these just like maybe this is like a bad take, but I think it's one of these like it's gonna happen anyway type of spots, and it's like I'm more. I honestly I don't have a good take on it. I don't really have a great take on it, and I also, to be completely honest, I was not interested in Zcash at like $50 4 months ago. I'm like totally, bro. I hold as bullish and public as I've been about Zcash. I hold leverage on Hyperliquid, so like it's hard for me to do the like mansplain like holier than now on the privacy stuff when like I hold it in a Hyperliquid account. So you know what I mean? So it's like as much as I would love to like fight you on this one, I really like don't feel like I'm qualified to do so, you know?
Yeah, okay, totally fair. I mean, my exposure's in Coinbase, so I'm also with you there. But like, I don't know, like that's just I don't know. If anyone has thoughts on that, yell at me on Twitter. I'm like actually super curious about this one, and I want to be convinced. Otherwise, I think your point about it's going to happen anyways is honestly true. Like, look at Cash. Like, people buy nukes in Cash. I don't actually. I have no idea if people buy nukes in Cash, but people buy drugs and do horrible things in Cash. So I think you're right about that.
What? So I love the data guys, by the way. We brought on Adam Tech recently.
Huge fan of Adam. I shot him in DM when I saw that announcement go live. He's the man. That's awesome. Huge land by
Thank you. He's awesome, and I love the data guys because you guys are awesome. What else is like intellectually interesting to you in crypto right now, outside of or maybe outside of the privacy stuff? Is there anything else you're looking at that you are like, this is under discussed, this is not being covered enough?
Yeah, so there's like two things that sit core to like what DeFi is today: swapping and lending. I think both actually have really interesting pockets. So let's go on the swapping side, so the trading side. On-chain spot, I think, is actually quite interesting. RFQ, or request for quote, is really popular in the Ethereum side of things. And then on Solana, we've had like a new on-chain iteration of that, Prop AMMs. Prop AMMs are basically on-chain market making, except not quite in an order book. And instead, like a single market maker has like their own book, right? So from the aggregator perspective, you can hit like Wintermute and name your favorite other market makers. But they're all like running their own books in separate instances, which is, I don't know, it's like almost an order book. And Solana has been trying to kind of land the order book implementation for quite some time. There's actually a new one called Manifest that recently just came online.
Okay.
But Prop AMMs are like a quasi-looking order book where market makers can give much better quotes. And so Humidify is the largest Humidify is the largest prop AMM on Solana today. They're doing like, I think they had $2.4 billion of volume yesterday. It's like more than Uniswap. I think it's more than every spot dex right now. And you can get a better you get there's like a tighter spread, so like a lower fee basically is what you pay on Humidify than like any centralized exchange. Like they have some of the best depth in the Sol USD pair. So really cool innovation on the trading side of things.
What's the trade there? The liquid
They're
trade.
actually launching a token. They're launching a token. If you want like the hardcore, I feel bad saying this on stream, so like take this with a massive grain of salt. It's like, I don't know, it's like on-chain Citadel, right? It's like on-chain market making. They're launching a token. They're actually using Jupiter's new token launchpad. They announced that the other day.
Whoa! Did you say on-chain Citadel is what you just said?
Yeah, it's a ridiculous claim, right? Like when Jito launched its token, it was like, all right, you're gonna have to take the Flashbots multiple, and you're gonna have to take the Flashbots not having a.
What is this called again?
Humidify.
Why have I never heard of it?
Great, they have a hilarious Twitter. Like the token is so Humidify is like humid. So token is going to be. I think they like the joke they always have is like wet. Like, oh, you got to get wet.
That's awesome. That's great.
So yeah, that's been pretty interesting. Prop AMMs are super cool, doing a ton of volume. And now launching a token. We haven't had a new DEX token in a while, it feels like, so that's exciting. And then on the lending side, the whole like Vault Wars is super interesting to me. I don't know if you saw like
explain that
Morpho. So Morpho uses like a modular lending where structure where basically like they're called curators, but effectively asset managers come in and basically say, deposit into our vault, and we're going to manage the allocation between based on a specific strategy that's going to take like X amount of risk. There was like the XUSDT or XUSD. I don't know a ton about it, but effectively a quasi stable coin that depegged and went to zero because of mismanaged funds, and that took out a good amount of vaults that were in that trade. So it started like that basically kickstarted this whole debate around what is the correct way to lend, right? Aave takes one approach, which is like a shared instance and very strict listing procedures. It's like Mark Zeller and Aave Chan and Chaos Labs. And I'm blanking this. Llama Risk. They do a lot of work in making sure they list the right assets to keep all of the users safe. And that was kind of like one style, and the other one is again, you just kind of have like a permissionless system where any curator can come in and launch a vault. But the problem with that methodology is DeFi is great. It gives users freedom of choice to do whatever they want with their capital, but the biggest fault with that is it gives users freedom of choice. And so it's kind of like the thing we were just talking about with like, privacy is great, but unless the wrong people use it. So like with how you convey the amount of risk a user is taking within a specific vault honestly, it's not that great today. Like if you were to, give an asset manager and TradFi your funds, you get like a whole prospectus about the risks they're going to take, the guarantees you're going to get, et cetera. And like, today, if you deposit in a vault, you get like one sentence about the risks that are undergoing or the strategy that's being deployed. So I think on the modular lending side of things, I think we're going to need to just see a way better, like, hey, here's a strategy you're running, or just like communication to users. But like, my, I guess, pessimistic take is even if you do that into a sufficient amount and you do have like a one-pager prospectus, most people aren't going to read it. The same way. Everyone clicks the vault with the highest yield, right? And like that means you're taking the most risk. So like it's how do you communicate to the user in like a meaningful and sufficient way it's a really hard question to answer. But my personal view is I don't think that's being done sufficiently today. But I do think that is the end game for lending architectures, and I think Morpho and Euler and the others that are deploying that methodology are doing the right thing.
So what's your trade there on the lending architecture side?
Yeah, so Morpho is winning there. They don't have a fee switch activated today, and I don't love the valuation of the token. I think it's a little bit rich.
What's
but somewhere north of a billion FDV,
it's like a billion even.
Yeah, and that's just that's not a small amount of money. So while I think they're deploying the right methodology, it's like, and the team is cracked. Tons of respect for what they're doing. It's a tough play. Spark is another interesting one there, a little bit lower of a market cap, potentially interesting. They're one of the largest curators on Morpho alongside Gauntlet, obviously no token, and Stakehouse, obviously no token.
I feel like a lot of this side, like this architectural side of like DeFi and crypto goes like largely uncovered by me, and a lot of the like social side of it just goes like largely uncovered by a lot of people. Why? It's just because it's
Yeah.
like technical.
I think it's what we just kind of touched on, right? There's
Yeah.
not a lot of great ways to get exposure to it. Is the bigger problem. I think Euler was probably the best way to get exposure, and then Token had a huge summer. I don't know what it's trading at right now, but yeah, it ran quite a bit in the summer. And then Maple doesn't really touch on this architecture, but has also been a strong player in the lending space. But again, kind of already had its run, so everything's kind of breathing or consolidating at these new levels.
So you do a lot of. Someone in the chat said because it doesn't have any sex appeal. You do a
Yeah, I
ton.
mean, lending is inherently boring, but
Yeah.
if we go back to the humidify side of things, like just scroll through their tweets, they're definitely going for the sex appeal.
Yeah. I just followed them.
Nice.
What do you think about the state of on chain right now? Like you do a ton of the data stuff. We talked about Ore a little bit. Like I actually think on chain. I'll start. I actually think on chain's in an interesting spot, and crypto in general is an interesting spot where, all things considered, majors or I guess Bitcoin looks solid. People have basically given up on memes, and I mean it's a bloodbath on most memes. Most alts are a complete bloodbath. And then it kind of feels like most people are relatively flat, and it gives opportunity for new cool stuff to spawn. Obviously, Ore, which we just talked about. I think some of the metadata stuff is relatively interesting. Not the token so much as the things launching on it. Like the Vici thing is really cool. That ran to 40, 50 mil. Obviously, there was Zcash. Like I feel like we're sort of in this cool flat spot where it's hard for some of this stuff to get worse. Like, can people get like less bearish on Soul memes? Like, probably not. I mean, like, I guess, but it becomes a margins game at that point. And so when you're flat, I feel like there's a lot of room for stuff to go up and get exciting. And I like to see stuff like Ore because even if people are like, oh, it's a Ponzi, da da da, it's like a well dressed Ponzi, which is, and it's intellectually stimulating to a lot of sharp people. So you love to see that. You love to see Zcash. You love to see Avicii. People are excited about some of the neobank stuff. Like, I actually think on chain is in an interesting spot where there's like a lot of room for new cool stuff to come and basically like a spiritual reset on what currently exists and was being traded. Like, what is the date? I don't know. What does the data say? What does your like
Yeah,
brain say?
completely agree with you with your point, right? Like the last like 2 weeks specifically have been super interesting. If you're holding like Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, you're down actually quite a bit. You're
Yeah,
probably
no,
not the
you're not
happiest.
good
But if you're holding like the Zec or stack, you just had the best 2 week run you had all year,
ever. Yeah,
which is weird. And like, if you told that to like anybody in Q1 of this year, they'd be like, "Dude, shut the hell up! Like, like stop." I agree. I think there's been this. I totally agree with the pause. That it kind of feels like there's been a breath in the market, and the meme coins have, again, just kind of hit this like weird homeostasis where they're same number of tokens launched every day, same amount of revenue occurring every day, but like I don't know, you and me aren't necessarily in the trenches like we
yeah,
probably were 6 months ago.
yeah.
And yeah, I agree with your framing of like there you got to find these like weird pockets. Like even Zora had its moment. There was the football cards on base as well,
I never
not that
liked
long
that.
ago. Yeah, I mean, I know I was one I didn't get my hands on, so I can't really give a commentary around what it was, but that also printed $1 million revenue day if I remember correctly. That
I
could
think
be
it's it.
wrong, but I believe it did. So like there's been these weird pockets and it's nothing has been super sticky, right? Like Zora has pulled back quite a bit in terms of activity, trading volume, and price. That football game like was a week and a half, 2 weeks tops.
Max.
And then like TBD on the longevity of this ore activity, but that's cooking with gas right now. So I agree. I feel like things have kind of flattened out. We're seeing it in the data. Trading volumes are largely arbitrage driven across all chains at the moment right now. It's going to be interesting to kind of see with Mega ETH and Monad coming online, like does that reignite sort of the activity flywheel? Both of those ecosystems have had teams building on testnet for quite some time. Like neither of them are gonna launch like bare, if you will. They're gonna
Yeah.
have things to do on day one, which I think is definitely the right strategy in this day and age. So very curious to see if that kind of reignites the activity games.
Can you give me a take on? I closed Uni by the way. Nice little trade. So I'm down to talk shit about it now. Can you give me
There
a
you go.
give me a take on why did Dex coins fucking suck? Like why is Jupiter cursed? I use it all the time. It's an incredible
Ugh.
product. Why is Jupiter cursed? I don't get it.
it's a series of incredible products, no less, right? Like they
It's
have,
awesome. It's such a good
yeah.
product.
I don't know. So this is like, maybe this is less Jupiter specific and more recent token launches specific. Is, dude, these things keep launching at like untenable valuations.
Yeah.
If you launch, again, Morpho, for example, like that, I don't want $1 billion token
Yeah.
necessarily. When you need a lot of things to go right for that valuation to make sense. That's like, I keep seeing it. Double Zero, these
Ugh.
projects don't necessarily have like the ability to control the price they start at. You launch out a bunch of exchanges, they all have different rules, a set of rules that how they determine the starting price between the market makers. Like, you don't have a ton of control over that. And Double Zero, I think Double Zero is gonna be a very, very interesting product. But if it launches at like a $5 billion valuation or whatever it is, it's like very hard for me to be like, oh, I'm super pumped about this. I want to go long. Like I'll just watch from the sidelines.
Yeah.
But if it does reinvent how packets are sent over the internet, like it's probably worth $5 billion. So I don't know. It's just for
I
me
got cooked
personally,
on Double Zero.
I like the sub 1 bill range. That's
So
kind of like my sweet spot.
I'm sure you read this, maybe you didn't, but Kobe had a really good back and forth about alt season and token valuations, and I think it was in reference to Plasma initially, but it extends pretty broadly that there's really cool stuff that launches in crypto. But I think this spreads across TradFi as well and IPOs, and it's like there's really cool stuff that launches, but you don't necessarily get rewarded for being early in liquid markets, right? Like crypto actually generally punishes you for being early on liquid markets, and I think that the chart that I'm the most obsessed with right now is the pump fund chart, and it launches at a stupid valuation. Day one, it goes up 30, 40. Pump was a little bit less, 15, 20%, because everybody's just trading leverage, hyperliquid perps, trading the momentum. It gets stupid. None of these people actually want to hold it. So they all sell when they're green enough or they flip red. Everybody sells. And then we just like cascade down 70, 80%. Plasma's currently doing this, right? And then you sort of like teeter for a little bit, month, 3 months, TradFi 3 years, right? Like Robinhood was like 3 years, Coinbase
Yeah.
3 years. And then you're like, oh, wait, this is actually a sick company. And oh, yeah, the valuation actually is awesome, down 80%. And then you ride like an 8x back up to ATH. And I think that crypto, like, I think this is one of the reasons, like the pushbacks or one of the friction points to like traditional alt season was that there a lot of cool stuff launched this last 2 years, but it all just launched like stupid valuation. Like, yeah, Double Zero actually is cool. He came on the stream.
Super cool.
He came on the stream. I'm like, this guy's awesome. Idea's awesome. Cool. I'm gonna long it on launch. It's just like the worst token ever. Like there's a lot of cool stuff that launched. Plasma is cool, but it launched at like stupid valuations, and then you can't really justify the price. And sometimes in a turbo bull, people don't really care. But if you're trying to hold any of these things long term, it does matter. And so once I like digested the pump fund chart, and then you start looking at like TradFi, same thing basically happens on IPOs. Look at the Figma chart right now. It looks horrible because everybody
Horrible.
because there's no price discovery happening on liquid markets, right? You're not at seed or series A, whatever. And so I think I'm just like gonna have to start to think about what type of charts I like to trade a little bit different.
Yeah. So I also think this is extremely MetaDAO coded. A lot of the, like, I don't know. I actually kind of like the meta token. I know you said you don't like it, but it's interesting to me. But I'm extremely fascinated by what's launching there. Avicii is a great example. And then Profit was talking about they might get a roofing company, like they roll up roofing,
Whoa.
literally roofing companies, to launch on like an ownership coin. And I literally tweeted, I was like, I will be a 1% owner of this token. Like that is awesome. That is truly the internet capital markets thesis, where it's not just like short-term crypto games or even long-term crypto games. Like it's everything. I think that's fascinating. And even I think it's like a testament to crypto if you can get someone who's, building a roofing company roll up, not like a blockchain roll up, like you roll up businesses. I feel like we need to clarify that one. If you can get that kind of person to launch an ownership coin, I think that's like a huge testament to how far the industry has come and being like, oh, like maybe this is a really interesting way to raise capital. Like I'll try to be a first mover here and take advantage of it. The risk you run is of course adverse selection, but that's no different with any venture bet, right? Like you can always bet on a shitty founder and lose money. So I don't know. I think that's like there's a little bit of MetaDAO coded here. But yeah, I also do like the pump chart. I know I just said like sub $1 billion tokens are my sweet spot. There's always exceptions. I'm intrigued by pump for sure. And they're launching something this week. I don't know what the exact details are, but their public GitHub has something called Mayhem Mode. And so very sparse details on what exactly Mayhem Mode is, but it sounds like it's mayhem. I'm in.
So I think MetaDAO. I actually had a long like debate with someone today about MetaDAO because I've been so distracted with Zcash I couldn't think about anything else, and then so now I'm getting back into just like what's going on. I saw a Vici and I'm like, fuck my life, this is cool. How did I miss it? And then I'm like, okay, MetaDAO is actually interesting because they have sick launches, and I think one of the things MetaDAO did right that Believe has done very wrong, and I don't know if it was intentional from either direction. Believe was basically like, cool, we're gonna get XYC Web2 credential people to come into crypto and launch. That's what we're gonna focus on. Non-crypto native people to come launch crypto coins. MetaDAO somehow has found themselves with like crypto native people launching crypto native products for like crypto natives, which the market has, in my opinion, has just said like we like this more. We want to bid this more. My problem with MetaDAO is one, correct me if I'm wrong, but they kind of have like a broken flywheel, like buyback system is like not great. They're not doing like pump fund revenue numbers, not even close, not even like in the remote ballpark. Like they like kind of like dropped the ball on that actually. And then second is I think that they kind of, dude, I kind of think they fucked up on no, they didn't even fuck up, but I think what makes MetaDAO cool is it also holds it back a little bit. Is this futurarchy thing is sort of like over philosophical and esoteric, and like it just
it's
like
a nerd snipe.
it's too nerd snipey, and I think it makes it difficult for some really serious people to be like, we're gonna come like bank our entire career on like whether or not we can get like DAO governance proposals passed. And I think what it does is potentially sets the stage for a pump fund rebrand to ICM, because what MetaDAO really did, they just had like a sick BD team, and they were like, we're gonna get better products than Believe. Like Believe just objected. Like we can say what we want about Ben and the eco flywheel, da da da. They just had bad launches. Like they had launches nobody cared about. MetaDAO has launches people care about. Like I think it's like pretty binary on like black and white. Good launch, bad launch, token good, token bad. I think it potentially sets the stage for Pump Fund, which has found a floor at no matter what happens, they make $1 million a day, to come in here, basically be bottomed, kind of take a step back from this like streamer coin stuff, which has objectively just like been a failure. I maybe it works long term. I have a lot of takes on it. It's a whole separate conversation. I potentially believe in it, but it sets the stage for Pump Fund to rip an ICM coin to $50 million plus, and then all of a sudden you're like, holy fuck, Pump fucking Fun, baby.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Now the question is, what do they like? I think Believe had like two things wrong. One, I completely agree. It's like poor launches, things that nobody cared about, and it felt like the adverse selection problem was extremely real. Like a lot of these just seemed like exit scams.
Yes.
And in many ways, I was like a walking MetaDAO advertisement, because the whole point of MetaDAO is like we're going to give you a token that actually gives you ownership and control over the entity,
Yes.
As opposed to just like, yeah, this thing like kind of looks similar to the product. Like it has no relationship in the Belief side of things. And so I think if Pump goes more towards an ownership coin and less towards like a meme coin associated with a product, I do think it can work. But like I actually think that the whole ownership side of things is why MetaDAO is having so much success. So like, yes, they had a crack BD team. Yes, I also agree that Futarchy can be a nerd snipe, and like we think it can work, but like there's a world where it doesn't work, and for X reasons, X, Y, and Z, maybe we don't even know yet. It doesn't work to solve the problems we want to solve, and that is a huge risk that I think those founders are taking. I completely agree with that. But I also think the big unlock there is you like if the company goes rogue, you can recover the funds that you used to initially fund the business with, and that I think is just really interesting. So I don't know. It depends which direction that Pump tries to go in the ICM route, but I agree. I mean, you kind of have to take the bet that Pump has an enormous war chest, and they're going to use that to build and iterate on new product lines, and like ICM very much being one of those. So that's kind of like what I think about trying to underwrite pump is like, can they use that cash effectively to generate value for the token?
I like the take. I like the things that you like. I think you're like a really sharp guy, dude. I appreciate you. Also, I lost track of time. I appreciate you like staying a little bit longer than I had like scheduled for. Is there anything you want to sign off with? Like anything you were excited about that you wanted to say? Anything you want to chill? Any like I don't know, low cap CA you want to drop in the chat? Like, what do you got? You have anything to sign off with? What do you got?
No. Yell at me on Twitter if you want to see cool data. That's what we do at Blockworks. That's what we love doing, and that's what we're gonna keep doing. So if you ever have interesting things like, yo, I would love to know X, Y, and Z about this random app or thing that's happening on chain, tweet at me. This goes to everyone, but also you, threadguy. I appreciate you having me on, man. This was a ton of fun. It seems we do like the same coins, which is fun.
I think we'll run it back at some point in the future. I really enjoy you.
Yeah, dude, hit me up. I'm always down. It's been a pleasure.
All right, dude.